Hey, welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It's your boy Marvin. This is a reaction video, basically to Candace Owen, basically saying this woman did what on a plane. So we're gonna go straight into the video, and I will stop the video to pause the video, should I say, to comment. So let's get on with it.
Guys, and I'm fascinated by this. It's a conundrum. I don't understand what's happening. Do we step through a portal when we get to the airports here in America, or everybody just loses their collective mind? That's what I want to know. Plus, later on in the show, a woman who was threatened by a homeless man on the subway says that she wishes the vigilante man who saved her with a gun didn't use a weapon. Ah, yes. He should have just let her die, I guess, or something. All that and more today coming up on Candace Owens. I don't know how these stories land on my lap. It seems like every day we have more people that are mentally unstable, that feel the need to board planes and to present themselves to people that are just trying to travel and to say, you have to deal with.
I just want to say something. I've taken a lot of flights, long haul flights as well. And I do find maybe people take prescription drugs before they fly, or alcohol at the end of the day, or like I said, or tablets for mental health. But I do think there should be more checks on that. And I guess, you know, being up in the air and being on prescribed drugs or something can affect that person. And like I said, you don't know what they've been through before. But it like I said, it could be anything. A lot of it, I guess, if they said, you know, that I've got this problem, or I've got that problem, I think that they probably wouldn't be able to travel. This is what I think, and especially if the airline knows the full story.
With me now and my mental instability. So just to be clear, let's back this up. You guys know, if you're listening to this podcast, that I have a very steep, a very rich history of confrontations at the airport because I don't tolerate it. Least of all when I am this pregnant. Least of all when I am this pregnant do I tolerate human beings that are acting selfish and narcissistic, which seems to be just the program we are all on today at airports. Just poor behavior, adults that are acting worse than their children. I'll give you one such example. I talked about it many, many moons ago. But a woman, it was a Puerto Rican woman who was boarding a flight. She was sitting next to me at the front of the cabin. She had a 2-year-old daughter with her. This woman was a mess. You could just tell by, this is a woman who doesn't read Jordan Peterson. This woman does not make her bed in the morning. She basically had packed up her daughter's stroller with everything that she was going to be wearing for the next 5 days. And her daughter's stroller basically was the suitcase. I knew right when I sat down next to her, I didn't want to be there. I just knew it wasn't going to be a good situation. She set her daughter on her lap after she piles all of her random paraphernalia into the overhead cabin, and she realizes that she hasn't packed headphones for her daughter. She just opens the iPad and she just plays her daughter's cartoon. Oh, okay, I guess we're all, for the next 3 hours, gonna have to listen to Blue's Clues and Scooby-Doo because your mommy doesn't have her together. That was...
Look, I can say to this at the end of the day, I think the woman could have said, look, hey, have you got any spare headphones, or can she play this quietly? I think if you ask and then you give that person you're sitting next to a decision to make. If she said, well, I'm going to play it anyway, and got rude with it, then you just asked to move seat.
Pretty much her program. And I looked at her and I was like, no. Your headphones, obviously, because I'm here. I'm going to take a nap for the next 3 hours. And she's like, I don't have any headphones. She points to her daughter like, don't you feel bad? I have a 2-year-old. Don't you feel bad? No, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad that you were not prepared to take this flight. I don't feel bad. You're like the kind of person that hit snooze on your alarm 6 times this morning, decided to run out of your door, pack a suitcase in the form of your daughter's stroller, and now you've realized that you don't have any headphones, despite the fact that they sell them every 5 feet at the airport. My answer is no. So I'm not okay with this. And she looked at me like, I'm gonna have to be okay with this. And I'm like, definitely not gonna be okay with this. And I raised my hand because you guys know I'm entitled to not a snitch. And I had the person come over, the stewardess come over, and they told her, unfortunately, you're going to have to turn off your iPad because the whole cabin is not required to listen to Scooby-Doo today because you didn't have your ish together. So that's where I'm at.
There's two sides of it at the end of the day. I mean, the mother could have said, look, has anybody got any spare headphones that I could put it in? And I'm sure someone would have said, saw the little girl sitting there and said, yes, I've got some headphones for her. I always think things could be dealt with a lot better in situations like that. But like I said, Candace Owens, I can understand where she's coming from. She's not going to listen to a cartoon for 3 hours solid, or how long the flight was at the end of the day, and she made a point not to. But I always think that there's someone on that flight that has spare headphones, or the cabin must have had some at the end of the day. There's always ways round it at the end of the day, do you know what I mean? But I guess, look, the situation escalated is because the mother was just going to play this iPad for this child to be happy with that.
At airplanes, I don't care. I am the bad guy. I looked at the daughter, the little 2-year-old. We had an understanding. She kind of agreed with me. She kind of knew that her mother didn't have her ish together, and she was very well behaved for the rest of the flight. She just didn't get to watch her Scooby-Doo cartoons. Does that sound cold-blooded? Well, I am cold-blooded, especially when I'm at the airport and people are misbehaving. So imagine how I felt when I saw this video, which has emerged. Now, the woman that we are going to be reporting on today, her name is Bobbi Storm. And Bobbi Storm boarded this Delta flight, and she says that she felt the Spirit of God come over her, and the Lord told her that everybody on the plane would want to hear her sing because she's a singer. Yeah, she's actually a Detroit-born vocalist that is featured on the Grammy's 2024 Best Gospel Album nominee, The Maverick Way, by Christian group Maverick City Music. She's got a small feature, and she's up for a Grammy. And so this let her know that obviously the Lord was working through her when she boarded this flight, and everybody would want to hear her sing. And what ended up happening as she stood up to speak to everyone at the airport and say, I'm going to sing for you, is that a flight attendant intervened and said, this is not appropriate. Take a listen.
But they're enjoying it. So while we're sitting here, could I please?
I'm not enjoying it. So I'm asking you, can you be quiet?
Okay, well,
that's a yes or no answer, please.
Am I going to go to jail if I don't?
Can you please answer my question? Are you willing and able to be quiet right now?
I'm doing what the Lord is telling me to do.
I'm asking you a question, yes or no. I'm your flight leader. I need you to follow my instruction.
Okay.
My instruction for you to answer my question. Are you able to be quiet?
What do you guys think?
I'm asking you, ma'am.
I'm asking you guys. What do you guys
Okay.
think?
If you're not able to follow my instruction, you will not be taking this flight.
Okay.
Are you
so
able to be quiet?
If that's the case, then that's fine. If you were the
So that's
person
yes?
in charge of it all.
I'm your flight leader, yes.
If you're the person in charge of it all.
The thing is, I always think you should have respect for people on that flight as well, because they've paid for their seat. If someone wants to talk to you, they'll talk to you. If someone wants to, if someone wants to space and just wants to be quiet, that's fair enough. They've paid for that seat. So someone bursting out into song at the end of the day, I'm not sure everyone's going to appreciate that. Even though she could be a great singer, lovely, what she could have done is, before the flight had taken off, had said, I'm a vocalist, I'm a singer. Can I just do a quick song before we actually go? And I'm sure they would have done that before the flight when everyone was sitting down. But to do it whilst basically they're about to take off or in the air, no, I don't think it's appropriate. It's like what you said. Even it seems trivial, you still got to have respect for other people on the plane.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So I'll sing it on the low for you all in the back, if that's okay. All right. So the song is called We Can't Forget 'Em. All right, and you can download it.
You gotta love that. He walks away, then she says, I'll just sing it on the low for you guys here. you guys are around, because obviously you guys want me to bless you with my talents. And I felt the Lord working through me. And clearly, thank goodness that this flight attendant happened to be Black, because otherwise this would have turned into an entire story about how a white flight attendant didn't want her to use her God-given talents to elevate the room. I can't even imagine being on this flight. Maybe you bought a book. Maybe you bought some headphones because you had your collective ish together that morning. Maybe you decided you were going to take a nap. And now you've got this woman who just believes that every single person wants to hear her sing because she's a narcissist.
No, they don't. That's the thing, no, they don't. You're going to have someone that's... you see people go wild on a plane or shout or drunk, and obviously it stops at the next airport, they get arrested, and they're embarrassed, they're all over the news. You can't do that. You can't... In a plane, it's quite tight anyway, especially in economy, and you've got to respect other people's privacy. That is number one. Is like I said, as long as you're comfortable, as long as you're not peeing anybody off at the end of the day, you generally get a nice, safe flight. If you need anything, the attendants will treat you good at the end of the day. If you think that the attendants are not treating you good, you can always report it, or write a message, an email, should I say, to head office, or even phone them.
Yes. Because she doesn't want to acknowledge the fact that she's a selfish narcissist, she instead puts this on God. She says, like, oh no, this is actually what the Lord wants me to do. Incredibly, and by the way, I want to make this very clear, there is no one that agrees with what she did. Incredibly, she then took to Instagram to follow up on this story and to make it clear to people that she didn't want the flight attendant, as she released this video, to be fired. That she recognizes that he made a big mistake. She claims that Delta followed up with her and that they apologized to her for her experience of not being able to deliver a concert while they were in the air. Take a listen to what she said on Instagram.
I don't want this man to be reprimanded where he loses his job. I simply want us to keep in mind how to treat each other. And there was no rules being broken. And it was just me spreading my joy with people after they gave me the go to do so. So I just hope that if he watches this, he's able to learn a valuable lesson on how to treat other people.
I mean, it is just absolutely incredible. Seriously, I want to speak.
I would have just... Look, if that was me in that situation, and I'm sure a lot of other people... I would have said something before to the captain. It's like I said, and let them make the decision. Okay? But like I said, to organise it yourself, like I said, in a personal space like an aeroplane, it is trivial to me. I am smiling about it because it is trivial. She probably got a fantastic voice, but you still got to respect the people around you, and obviously the people managing you, like the flight attendant. He said no, you can't respect other people, and I would have left it there. I wouldn't even have gone on to Instagram. That was done there and then. At the end of the day, I thought he was very, very firm but professional.
Speak to this woman. This is what happens when we just have an entire country that is just filled with people that are suffering from various mental health issues. I can't even imagine boarding a plane just being like, you know what, I'm a podcaster and I do a show every day, and I'm so glad that I have an audience here that is required to sit for the next 2 hours, and the Lord is speaking through me, and so I'm going to talk to you about random political topics because I am Candace Owens. You can find me on Spotify, you can find me on Apple, you can find me wherever you listen, but the Lord is telling me to do my podcast live. So welcome to Candace Owens. And then,
Look, it just sounds like this lady was, Bobbi Storm, was just happy that she's up for a nominee. Things are going well in her life, and she probably wanted people to hear her voice and say, wow, who are you, how can we get hold of you? And it was a little bit, I guess, over the top for Candace Owen at the end of the day. Me, myself, I mean, if it's a private flight, I probably would have heard her, and I think a lot of people would have done, and then made their consumption after that at the end of the day. I mean, some people like a bit of fun on the plane or a bit chatty and laugh, but not all people like that. This is my point. I don't think the whole plane's going to like it.
And it tells me that obviously this is not allowed. What is she saying? There's no rule against this. Yes, there is very much rules against being intentionally disruptive on flights. You need to behave like an adult on a flight and recognize that people are paying not because they want to hear you sing gospel, because guess what, princess? Not everybody likes gospel music. I don't know a single person that everybody likes to hear sing. Even people that are loved, like Beyonce. My mom cannot stand Beyonce's voice. Now, I don't feel the same. She thinks it's shrieky and it's annoying. So if Beyonce got up on my mom's flight and started singing, my mom would be like, please sit down. This is not what I paid for. That's how it works. Could you imagine if somebody who sings...
I do think Candace has been a bit strict here. I know she's very straight-laced at the end of the day. She is a brilliant podcaster. But I do think that this situation was taken a little bit too far. If she would argued a point and got rude, then it's a different story. But she didn't. She sort of calmed down. I don't think she was expecting that reception from the flight attendant and how strict he was. I think that shocked her a little bit at the end of the day. But hey, look, she said she's to sing quietly to the people around her. If she did, she did. If she didn't, she didn't. If she did, she did. If she didn't, she didn't. At the end of it, because obviously we can't see what's happened, but she must have done for the people who were around her. But hey, look, right? She was obviously may have been talking to a few people around her in what she does, and was just seemed like a happy-go-lucky lady. But like I said, sometimes selfishness does kick in, but I don't think it was a scenario which the whole world should be taken looking at her and thinking she shouldn't have done this, she shouldn't have done that at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? Because there's far worse which happens on airplanes.
Heavy metal, which to me, I know you guys hate me for this. Some of you guys are like, no, can't get into it. I'm never going to be into heavy metal. Someone just got up and was like, well, it's not against the flight rules. I'm just going to start shrieking heavy metal at you. Ozzy Osbourne's going to be coming at you right now. I mean, who do you think you are? You have to be demented. And it brings me great warmth to know that the rest of the world is not crazy and that people in the comments just completely tear her apart on Instagram, remind her this has nothing to do with God and has everything to do with your low IQ mixed in with a little bit of narcissism. Sean wrote under her IG video, did God tell you to name drop all the people that produced your album too? Because she does that in the video. This person, I am Gina, writes, you should have just been quiet. The Lord had nothing to do with that. Yes, obviously. This third person, I am Trey, writes, you are out of order, point blank, period. And you using God as a shield and clout to have your way is late and lame. Obedience is better than sacrifice. You are prideful. This is not how Jesus would conduct himself. This man is at work. You are literally disrespecting him in his workplace. The aircraft is not your stage. Not everyone around you wants to hear you sing or even cares about your Grammy nominations. God does things decent and in order, not the way you are acting. You need to have a slice of humble pie, sis, because this ain't it. I am actually embarrassed for you. Trey, round of applause. This person writes, sorry, sis, it's out of order. Did not seem like God's character at all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, she persisted. She insisted to herself, I guess.
Look, it was selfish what she done, but I do think it was taken out of context a little bit, in that the attack on her was quite hard at the end of the day, because she'd already been given a dressing down by the flight attendant. Are you going to stop? At the end of the day, I do think if she'd argued with him and won off, then I would have said, look, at the end of the day, she should be kicked off the flight at the end of the day or removed. But look, it happened at the end of the day. I don't think it was a biggie, to be honest with you, at the end of the day. I do think, like I said, planes are very personal, like I said. There's not a lot of space and you need to respect the people around you. I think that is thoughtful And she didn't really argue back. I think she was upset in a way, but she didn't argue back.
I guess that people in the comments just weren't privy to the background of the story. And so she shares it. And really what happened was she realized that after the plane was facing some mechanical issues, that the mechanical issues weren't happening because that happens on a lot of these ghetto planes, but because God was using it as a way to intervene and tell her that this was her moment to shine. Take a listen.
As I'm sitting in my seat, I'm telling my neighbor, I really want to get up and sing on this flight. And she's like, sing on a flight? And I'm like, yeah, I used to do that back in the day, and I'm feeling it right now. I haven't done it in years, but I'm feeling like sharing my joy with people because I just got nominated for the first time for a Grammy. And all of a sudden, they made an announcement and said, we have to go back to the gate. There's a brief maintenance issue. So for those of you with a connection, you have the option to get off or whatever the case may be, but we have to go back to the gate. I knew instantly that was God.
I don't know what to say other than what I began with. Clearly, there's a magical portal that we are all stepping through when we get to the airport, and people become clinically insane. That's what happens at the airports. And they are convinced that their very poor behavior is somebody else's fault. In this case, she believes that it is the Lord that is speaking through her, when in reality, it is because she is not fit to fly in the skies. That's what I think about you, Bobbi Storm. If I was on that flight, thankfully I was not, but if I was on that flight, it wouldn't have been just a flight attendant that told you that it was time for you to be quiet. And that's all I have to say about that.
So that's the end of the video. Look, my point is that at the end of the day, you have to have respect for the people around you. I do think it's taken a little bit over the top what she done, because she didn't start blasting out singing. She'd probably start singing to a neighbour or the people around her. I got the feeling she must have been talking to people that she's singing around her, and they would have liked to hear her voice, but not the whole pain, should I say. I do think Candace Owens is brilliant. I think she was a little bit over the top by that, but she is set in her own ways and quite strict about that. But I wouldn't have taken it as seriously as obviously some people has. That's just my view. At the end of the day, if she had argued, like I said, it's a different matter. She should be removed from the plane. At the end of the day, I think she was shocked about what the attendant said, but she could have said something to the captain or the attendant. Can I do a quick 2-minute thing before we actually take off? And you know, the attendant could have turned around and said, look, to the people that were around that area, oh, do you mind singing for a couple of minutes? And then let them make that decision. But listen, it never got that far. They said no, and we need to respect that at the end of the day. And people's personal space, that is important. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment and leave all your messages, so I will come back to you. Obviously not every single one, but some of them I can. But thank you for your participation, and take care. Look after yourselves.